Hey there, boys, girls, and flying squirrels. My name's Joe Keyport, and you're listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. This week, I talked to the Twin Cities' favorite industry plant's National Park Service. We discussed the band's newest EP, Psychic Friends Fair, their decision to release 3 EPs within the same year, their forthcoming release, which will be coming out later this year, and recording the All the Moves music video in a closed gas station on Penn Ave. Like all of our guests, the members of the band were a joy to talk to. So without further ado, it's National Park Service on the Ear Coffee Podcast. So I'm joined by Dylan, Jared, and Josue of National Park Service. How you guys doing this morning?
Good.
You guys had a gig last night in Eau Claire, right?
Yeah.
How did that go?
Pretty good. It was fun. Never played out of state before.
Okay.
So it's pretty rad.
So how'd that get set up then?
We just got like DM'd by like the guys in Dissonant Minds from Eau Claire. They I guess they had heard our music. I don't know how, and they were like, "You guys should come play." So we came and played.
Nice. Is that how? Cats. So is that kind of how a lot of? So the first time playing out of state, are you guys getting more gigs out of state soon, or?
Hopefully. Right now we're like trying to book gigs. We're like trying to do a tour.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
That's the idea.
So like just kind of starting out, just kind of tell me the history of National Park Service and how you guys kind of came to be.
Okay. All right.
Because you guys haven't been around that long.
Not in this like, yeah.
Okay.
We, I guess if we're starting chronologically, like how we met, probably.
Yeah, I met Dylan in 4th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
I came from California.
Yeah.
So he was the first kid I met. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and Nathan were in a band in high school. We started in like 8th grade. It's called The Deadline. And that music is somewhere on like Bandcamp somewhere, I think. But it's pretty terrible. And Jared eventually joined that band. We were with some other guys, and he played guitar. Yeah, in high school. And that ended really badly.
Ended badly how? Like just imploded or?
Yeah, it was some like internal conflict for sure. But me and Jared and Nathan were tight and fine after that. And then so like National Park Service started because I was just like itching to do music after that. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of like made it a solo project like last March, like 2018 March. I was just like recording like covers of like Frank Ocean and stuff. Yeah. But then like Nathan was like, I want to do this too, and Josue was like living with me at the time.
Yeah, I remember you guys were doing garage, I think.
Yeah, we were doing like the really early demos of like the Oliver EP, and Josue played drums, but like he didn't tell us he played drums.
He kept it a secret.
Like for like months, and we had been like actively talking about needing a drummer the whole time. And so
just burying the lead on that one there.
Yeah, I was like, I can play.
Yeah, I can play. So then we kind of like were like, all right, you're in, without him wanting to really be in.
You didn't want to be in the band initially? Or?
I wasn't like expecting to be in a band ever.
Okay.
They needed a drummer, so I was like, yeah, I'll play.
So you just kind of started drumming just cuz, and suddenly it was like, oh.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So did you guys find out he was a drummer before asking him just to be in the band, or?
No, because they were like needing a drummer.
Okay.
And then I was like, I play.
So that initial, so you released Oliver in in March of this year, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you were putting that together as kind of a solo project, or what was?
Yeah, I mean, like when we started it, it was all like we had Grudge and like Garage basically like done, cause like Garage was based on a song we wrote with The Deadline.
Okay.
And I like really liked the riff, but we didn't actually use the riff in Garage. We ended up using it in part 2, which is part 2 of Garage, of our new EP. So that was like basically completed. And it just had like Robo MIDI drums on it. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, we just wanted to play it as a band. We didn't want to do a solo project. Thought it was pretty more fun if we did it as a band, for sure.
Are you guys still in high school, or you graduated? Or
Graduated.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
How long ago?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been like 2 years now.
So Oliver was that like a recorded in your like a house, just kind of very DIY.
It's like my room.
Okay.
Yeah. Bedroom pop band. Yeah.
Nice.
Mom's basement.
Sorry, Mom.
Any of you guys like kind of know what you were doing going into that recording, or just kind of figuring it out as you go along?
Jared knows the most about like
Okay.
recording. For like the Oliver, like when we did the final recordings of Oliver, he like actually knew what he was doing. I was just like directly into the fucking the interface or whatever. Yeah. So, but he knows more about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're talking like musically?
Yeah, music. Yeah, like we're like recording the music and stuff. Yeah.
Jeez, I don't know. I would say we kind of had a plan
Okay.
at first. Then after recording, we just kind of went with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would take the takes home and edit them, mix them, send it to them, see
Okay.
what they wanted me to add, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda
Nice.
just went like that.
There's something magical about that kind of like figuring it out as you go or having a basic idea. Because I mean, I started out recording music in like high school, and there's like a magic to it that you don't obviously
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
A little bit of grit there, that the unpolishedness of it. So did those like songs and recordings kind of grow as it went from 2018 you were working on it to when you released it now? Because you said there was like, did like the MIDI drums and kind of stuff like that make it onto the final EP, or was that eventually
No.
re-recorded and stuff like that?
Yeah, all of the stuff was
Okay.
eventually re-recorded. It actually, it sounded really weird when we first recorded it.
Weird
It was
how?
like really like just tons of like flange and phase around like every guitar.
Analog sounded super like poppy.
Yeah, it was like a completely different song.
Okay. Okay.
And we. Josue, this is a little industry secret.
Industry secret.
Josue, when we were recording
Oh, yeah.
drums for Oliver, he actually is not the one playing the drums on Oliver.
No.
Because
Oh.
like the day before he
Yeah,
cut,
like 3 or 4 days before I accidentally stabbed myself in the hand.
trying to cut an avocado.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't like you guys just re-recorded the drums and just didn't tell.
Yeah, we like.
Okay.
Yeah, we were gonna record like that Saturday, and then that week of that Saturday on Wednesday, I like stabbed myself,
Oh.
and then I couldn't play.
You
Yeah.
didn't want to just tape the stick to your hand and call it?
No, it was just like I had to get like internal stitches and
Oh,
outside
wow.
stitches. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was really
gnarly.
bad.
That's crazy.
And so we just asked my like dad. My dad's a drummer. We're
Okay.
like, hey, we need you, because we were like super like hell bent on like getting it
Yeah.
out, which was maybe a bad call on our part. We were like more interested in just like getting music out
Yeah.
so we could like book gigs. We should have probably took our time for
Yeah.
sure.
So how was working with your dad to try and record it? Was he just like, you just gotta give him notes and like he just did it, or what was that like?
Well, it was, I don't know, it's pretty weird because like, we just sent him the demos or
Your
like
dad.
our recordings that we had, and we were like, hey, we need you to play these in like 2 days.
Well, didn't he like not play the analog until that day?
Yeah,
I thought
he
he
had
just-
never heard analog. Yeah. And so like it was kind of just, he did all of them in like 3 takes.
Oh,
Like
nice.
it was pretty
Yeah.
like he's played drums since like the 70s.
Okay.
He's been in bands. He played with like this like after Steppenwolf broke up, they started like Nick St. Nicholas started a band called Starwolf.
Okay.
He played in that.
Oh, nice.
So it's we're actually an industry plant.
Oh,
of it.
gotcha. That's
Right.
as long as you announce it now instead
Right,
of later.
guys.
Yeah. Industry plant. But
But yeah, so he killed it for the most part.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't
he did a good job.
Worked out.
so then that kind of takes you up to now with the new EP being called Psychic Friends Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me the story behind the name, because when you think of it, you're just like, what?
Yeah. So when I didn't come up with the
Okay.
name Psychic Friends Fair. I like found it. My like great aunt had like this notepad
Mm.
from. So like in the 90s, there was like a phone call service you could call for like psychic advice called
Oh,
like the
yeah, yeah.
Psychic Friends
Like
Network.
like a late night kind of
Yeah.
1-800 number.
Exactly, yeah, and I guess they had like a convention at the Mall of America because they had like a note. My aunt had like a notepad that said "Psychic Friends Fair."
Okay.
Mall of America, year 2000. So I kind of saw that. I was like, I like really. I don't like believe in the occult, but I find it really fascinating.
Yeah.
So like, I was kind of like, this is a really good name, and then we kind of like worked it into the lyrics and kind of worked out thematically speaking. I think.
So you released Psychic Friends Fair pretty close to releasing the Oliver EP. When talking about it, you've like the Oliver EP. Those songs at least existed relatively close to the start of National Park Service back in 2018. Were a lot of these songs already in the vault, or what was the decision into releasing this one so quickly after Oliver?
Oh man,
A
that's
melting pot of what we've already had written.
yeah. A lot of the songs we wrote when we were in like high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, part 2 is the second part of Garage.
Oh.
So like that's why it's called part
Part
2.
two.
And like when we play it live, it's very like the segue works really nicely, and that riff in part 2, like the da-na-na-da-na-da, that is from a song we wrote in the Deadline that we just like reused, and we changed all the lyrics and all the
This
moves.
is also how Garage ends.
Yeah, it's how Garage ends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That was kind of the idea.
Okay.
To transition from those EPs, or the first one to the second one.
So did you kind of, when programming, do you want them to be kind of like a homogenized experience for listening? Like you want to be able to listen to like Oliver into Psychic Friends Fair? Or?
I think that was kind of the idea.
Okay.
The idea. I don't think it ended up working out because the production is so much different
Yeah.
on Oliver. Which like I enjoy because I love the sound. I think the Psychic Friends Fair EP is like really like solidified at like a studio sound. Because we want to constantly kind of like change that.
Yeah.
And yeah. So we initially were gonna make it like it sounded exactly like the guitar in the beginning was exactly the guitar at the end of Garage, but it didn't pan out. I didn't want to ask too much of like Abe or anything to like make that happen, but and then All the Moves was a song he wrote in high school too.
Okay.
I
About
think
manager who was very flirty when I started
Okay.
my second job. I brought it, well, because we were sitting down, we were asking like, what songs do we have? I'm
yeah.
like, well, I got this one, but I don't know if I want to use it. It was like a joke song, just screwing around with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're like, well, we'll work on it. And eventually, Dylan and I added that second part.
Yeah, that like
the end
breakdown
there.
at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was just those first 2 verses, and then there was
Yeah.
like a third verse that was pretty much
same
exactly the
thing, yeah.
same, yeah. Mm,
Then after that, I was like, man, this is the one.
this is the single.
Single.
And then Beach Clothes was again like a song I wrote right after I graduated high school.
Okay.
It was a song called Blood, which I like recorded a demo. It was so dramatic. Blood. So edgy.
metal.
Yeah, I was really into Turnover at the time. But then I like completely rewrote it. And, like Jared and I were like sitting playing it on. It was all like folky. It was like a really like Bright Eyes vibe song, and we like wrote it on acoustic guitar. And then Jared, I was like showing him. And then he was like, well, what if we did this? And he like did that beginning like dun, 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 dun. It was like way more intense than I thought it could be. So that completely like changed the sound.
Gotcha. I'm wondering, since you mentioned All the Moves has a autobiographical element. Well, it's kind of, there's a lot of like humor and just kind of the surreal aspect of it's kind of amped up. How autobiographical are a lot of the songs on your releases? Because like thinking back to the opener of Oliver Analog, that one is about learning kind of about a person through their music afterwards and stuff like that. I was just interested to hear where a lot of those songs come from.
I think a lot of it is self-referential. I think we like characters.
Yeah.
And me and Jared have talked about this. We like character writing for sure. Like situational. Almost like writing a song like a Seinfeld episode.
Okay.
You know? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of... Because, like, I don't know, we're pretty normal dudes.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
pretty relaxed and regular, but we have emotions, so we write those in songs.
Okay.
Analog was so like when that song came out, like everybody messaged us like, you guys wrote a song about Freddie Mercury and that movie just came out. You're like, and it was not about Freddie Mercury at all. I just liked the name Freddie.
Yeah. Okay.
Dylan.
Yeah,
Same.
I was like, it's not Freddie Mercury, guys. I
I
was
mean,
like,
that's what I thought initially, but I was like, there's really no. I mean, there's really no tie to Queen here otherwise. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the closest thing we ever did to Queen is when we were like practicing. We
I Wanna
cover
Break
"I Want to
Free."
Break Free,"
Yeah.
sometimes, which is kind of the idea that people thought it was Freddie Mercury was kind of why we ended up doing the music video for All the Moves like we did. It's kind of like a meta joke.
Okay.
Like the "I Want to Break Free" music video. You know, they're all wearing the wigs and the makeup. So we thought, well, this is a little meta reference that
Okay.
nobody will get
Dylan
except for
in a-
us.
In a wig.
Yeah. Let's just throw a wig on Dylan
Okay.
and call it a day.
So, is there a specific person in mind when you had written Analog then, or?
Freddie, yeah, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, there was some specific instances
Okay.
in my life where like people had died, or like friends of mine had friends that had died.
Yeah.
But then I kind of like I was really toying with the idea of alter egos at the time, and like I kind of created this alter ego of Freddie, which was like if I kept going on like this really negative direction I was going as like a youngin, Freddie would have been what I ended up like, which is just like total self-destruction. And so like the concept behind Analog is like if the person I am now is able to talk to the person I was then,
Okay.
you know,
Uh,
maybe that path wouldn't have gone down. Yeah.
That analog diary kind of thing. Then.
Exactly,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
When you talk about creating characters, it definitely like there's something you can connect with. It makes me think of like the Hold Steady.
Right. Yeah.
Where you're like, well, where Craig Finn will just like. I mean, obviously, it's all set in Minneapolis, even though he lives in New York now. But like,
the hood rat friends.
like that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking of. Like, you have these characters that you care about and want to know more about, even though they're not real people and they're kind of based off these composite situations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But since we're kind of on the All the Moves, kind of talking about that already, I want to talk about that music video because it's quite easy. Like
Everybody does.
yeah. So where was it? What gas station did you guys shoot that in?
It was at the market.
It's at the
Bryn
Bryn
Mawr
Mawr Market
Market.
down
Yeah.
the
Oh,
street.
okay. Yeah.
Penn
Yeah.
Ave. Place is rad.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Just like middle of the night, like
Yeah.
get snacks.
Yeah.
Were they cool just letting you film there, or would you have to do some finagling to try and get them to let you
No,
shoot?
you just
there?
asked
Kind
them.
of like asked. They
Yeah,
were
nice.
cool about it. We
with
just did it after it closed,
Yeah.
so it didn't bug anybody. But like people were like, because the lights were
They're
on,
on.
People try to
started
come in.
walking
And you guys are in like uniforms.
Yeah, I'm like
yeah.
in a wig with makeup,
Yeah.
and I like stare at them. I'm like, "Hey guys!" So like, they immediately see me and they kind of like back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so who came up with the idea for shooting it like you shot it? I mean, the more you mention it, it's definitely like almost a real life thing that literally you're just like, well, we're just gonna transpose the scenario into like a video. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what we wanted to do. We sat down talking about music video ideas, and that was just kind of the first thing that popped into our heads when I had told them what it's about,
yeah,
and so we just went with it.
Yeah, it was kind of the most easy to film too. Like out of all of our ideas, we had some like really crazy. We still have some really crazy ideas. I think
Yeah.
we're still gonna film them.
like what?
Well, this is actually gonna happen. So this is a little announcement, I guess. We're gonna do a music video for No Time to Waste, I think.
Okay.
Right, where it's like gonna be like a samurai, like Kill Bill story.
Kill Bill type shit.
Ooh, yeah. Josue's gonna be like the sensei.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm gonna have Nathan be like a cowboy. It's gonna
Yeah.
be rad. I'm looking forward to it.
Was it Dylan, your brother, who filmed
Yep.
the video?
Yeah.
So, is he a filmmaker already, or kind of how does that tie in?
He's like been making like little home movies since he was like 7, and I was always forced to like act in them. So, and I was like 5, so I'm like terrible in all of them. But you know, he's been like it's film is like his passion. You know, he really loves it, and they're actually, him and his buddy Anton are making a movie in Spicer, New London right now, or Wilmer, that area, that college town, and they're making a movie right now. And so he's got like all this like really expensive gear equipment and stuff, and he's like really good at like doing shots and like coming up with concepts. So like I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, we don't have money to pay anybody to do a music video. Do you want to do a music video?" And he was just like, he was stoked. He's like our
coming
big.
up with ideas for.
Yeah.
Oh man,
songs,
he's like just fires off concepts like it's nothing.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, something that like, well, all the things and then some other songs have brass on them. Where did you, and who played the brass? Did you
That's
guys bring in
Dylan.
some?
That's me. That's me. Yeah.
Are you a brass player? Kind of.
I'm just really into that sound.
Yeah.
Like, I love orchestration. So
Yeah.
like I'm wearing like an Arcade Fire shirt right now, just kind of like selling me out. Yeah, I love like bands that integrate more in like we were kind of going into it with like Sgt. Pepper's in our heads, especially because it was called Psychic Friends Fair. We thought it like fit in that psychedelic concept album type thing. And it didn't end up sounding like that really, except for like Ruby is probably the most like Beatlesy.
I would say that
of the five. And that was very much so. We heard like the harp on "She's Leaving Home" by the Beatles, and I was like, I'm putting a flute in Ruby. It was kind of so yeah. I just like sit down and with our like recordings and like our DAW, and I just kind of like come up with melodies and I make them fit over it because I just I love how that sounds.
Where'd you get all the? Did you just have those instruments kind of lying around, or did you have to?
Oh, it's all MIDI.
Oh, it's all MIDI. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
I like write out the sheet music.
Okay.
And then we had horns players like lined up to like record it. And I had gotten them all the sheet music, and then a lot of them like bailed out last minute, which is fine. Like I get it. Like time was hard, especially because the school year was gonna start and there was stuff. And then we were just like, well, we have the demo recordings like from the MIDI, so we just sent them over to Abe and he mixed them, and they sound like real instruments, so it's no problem.
You worked with Abe Anderson of his solo EP that was out, and Nice fame, obviously.
Yeah,
how did you get that connection? Because he's been kind of slowly working his way into kind of a producer role anyway.
Yeah, I think so. My girlfriend is like really good friends with Sage from Nice, and so I was like friends with Sage on Facebook, and I kind of like made a post. I was like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to mix and master our EP. Because, like, Jared mixed and mastered our last one, and, like, it was awful for him. Like, we just, like, I don't know if...
Crazy. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It was just...
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Especially with, like trying to...
We did it in, like, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it was really short. Like, we did all the songs. He had, like, never even really played the songs before.
Yeah.
So...
It's like right when I was first joining.
We were like, all right, now we're going to do an EP. It's like, you went to college for it, so let's do it. And then we hit up, Abe commented, because like Sage commented, and he was like telling us he was like, you should ask the guy from Gleamer. Like, there's like, I think it's the drummer of Gleamer.
Okay.
And I looked into it, and I was like, that's out of my price range. And then Abe commented as well, and he's like, I dabble in mix and mastering. I was like, okay, all right. So we just asked him, and it like sounded great. He like sent us the first, so I like sent him the files, and he like almost a day later sent us like the first
It was
mix.
quick.
It was really quick. The turnaround was unreal, and it sounded great. I think it was beach closed.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and I was like floored. I was really impressed.
So he wasn't involved with like the recording or anything.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
We did all the recording. We just sent him what we
Gotcha.
had.
Our bounces,
Yeah. Nice. You said you went to college for recording and stuff? Or
Yeah,
Where'd
audio
you...
engineering. I went to Hennepin Tech.
Okay.
The Eden Prairie campus.
Yeah. Nice.
Pretty cool campus.
Yeah. I haven't been. I initially started in school with audio engineering, and then I was like, this takes so much time, and I don't have the patience. I have to ask, what's up with the masks? Like the weird purge masks.
It's-
That's
Yeah.
in everything.
I think it started off. I was like coming up with the concepts
Yeah.
of the EP. I'm like really into like thematic records, and I like came up with it was back to the alter ego thing. I
Yeah.
wanted to go all out with that because we kind of referenced it in the Oliver thing, and then the Psychic Friends Fair. I was like, all right, we're gonna do the alter ego. We came up with a concept. I was telling Jared like months before we even started recording. Was like I wanted to do one where we were all like super evil, like really like bad people, and like we made a concept album about bad people, and that didn't pan out because we're like nice guys.
Yeah.
I think I don't know.
I hope.
Josue is pretty mean,
Yeah. I'm an asshole.
Gotcha.
but it kind of we like had masks. It was like kind of a super villain thing, and then I was just like, well, I like the mask idea, but then I started coming up with ideas for what I do on the masks, and like Josue came up with his was like the face tattoos.
Oh yeah, face tats of like
yeah.
random rappers and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we kind of because that's kind of his background musically. Like he's
Yeah,
really into like
like
Tattoos.
It's like I just love face tats.
Yeah.
yeah, like really like that's
No, just like rap and stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
But I like just got into like rock and stuff because of Dylan and Nathan. Like I didn't listen to like Led Zeppelin until like last year. I was like,
Interesting.
Yeah.
How is that? Learning curve is like a strong word to use for that situation, but there is definitely like a switching. There's some overlap between those genres. With like I know a lot of the like people compare like a lot of the kind of more underground rap now to a lot of the emo and hardcore of like with the aggressive nature and like the lyrical stylings. But how is that kind of coming into the different world, like a different musical world, especially as a player too?
yeah, I don't know. It's a lot different for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Like rap, you're like comparing rap with like rock music.
Yeah.
It's hard to. It was hard to get into at first for sure, but you just gotta like keep listening, I
Yeah.
guess, and then it starts getting better for sure. Because I just got into the Beatles last year too.
Okay.
So I'm trying to listen to more of them too.
Yeah.
But
Because I'm trying to do the opposite. I grew up small town Minnesota, so like rap wasn't a thing on my radar, and so
Yeah.
trying to listen the other way,
no,
trying to
yeah.
listen back is what did you find was the most accessible kind of like way to jump in? Was it
Just like asking them like, what would you guys listen to and stuff like that. Because I kind of showed Dylan a little like more rap too, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I was like into rap, but like I was into like Kanye's The Life of Pablo, and
Yeah.
like Frank Ocean's Blonde.
Yeah.
You know? I showed you
He showed me Blonde,
I showed
yeah.
you Blonde. I like changed Josue's life.
Yeah, because I listen to Blonde
Different
so
person
much.
now.
Yeah,
yeah.
but I don't know. I forgot the question.
So just coming into the world of like rock music from a background in rap,
Yeah.
especially as a player too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like rap is cool, but it gets old after a while, and I don't really listen to that much rap anymore.
Okay.
I've just been listening to actually a lot of like Mac DeMarco recently.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Mac, yeah.
yeah, he's really good.
So what does kind of wrapping things up? What does the end of 2019 and into 2020 look like for the band?
Can we make that announcement? You think?
Because this won't,
Yeah.
just kind of this interview won't come out until the second half of October,
Okay.
just
Right.
because of our back catalog of interviews.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're doing another EP.
Number 3.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
we're starting recording. It's September now, so like we're starting recording this month. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me and Jared are actually right after this. We're gonna start finishing up all the pre-recordings, so we can record Josue's drums. It's definitely a like sister piece to Psychic Friends Fair. So
Okay.
it's an extension of that. And we intend for all of our records for the last song to flow sort of like or hint thematically at what the next EP is going to be.
Yeah.
So, listen to Ruby and you'll figure it out. you'll figure out what it's about. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea. Another 5-song EP, pretty sure 5-song.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
What's the drive to do EPs over waiting to maybe do full albums?
I think we really just want to sit down and come up with a very, I don't know how you say it. We want to put a lot of time into the album.
Yeah.
Very
Right now.
cohesive piece for sure.
piece, yeah.
We've written some songs for it for sure. There is like an idea we have. Like we've like played some of these tracks on demos and stuff, and it's gonna be very big sounding for sure. And like we don't have the means to make it very big
Okay.
sounding probably. Maybe we do, but we're not that good. So we'd have to get somebody else involved.
So you have like an album almost written, just kind of waiting, or
I'd say it's about like 25-30% like written.
okay.
Slowly working on it.
There's still, it was like 50% written, but then we like took some of those songs, we're putting it on our new EP.
Okay.
So now we're kind of back to not the drawing board because we're not starting completely over, but the concept is changing a little bit for sure.
On the new EP or the album.
The new album.
So
The
what's,
yeah.
You want to give me a little teaser on kind of maybe the concepts that were on this album, this upcoming future record, or kind of
The record or the new the newest?
well,
like
both would be dope. but-
okay. I think the EP.
Yeah.
I think we talked is going to be very like it's about characters.
Okay.
Like people. So Ruby, if you like think Psychic Friends Fair, it's a character.
Yeah.
It opens, the new EP opens with a character piece. There's like 3 or 4 character piece. One's about Josue. Anybody
Yeah.
who's seen us live will know the song.
Yeah,
probably
Josue
or
was
like
a
knows
punk
us.
rocker.
Yeah, Josue was a punk rocker. It's a classic. And then yeah, so it's just like a very character personal
Okay.
piece. The album, I think, is we're just going into it with like we have to make the strongest indie rock debut record of all time, or like we're gonna shoot ourselves in the foot. Like we feel really strongly about making it as good as possible. I think we're very inspired by like the bands we see in the Minneapolis scene for sure.
What are some of those bands?
Jared, that's all you. You gotta start clockwise.
I would say Hippocampus for sure.
Hippocampus for sure. I mean, like when
Hippocampus.
we were in the Deadline, we played like mostly
It was like
Hippocampus
a
cover
Hippocampus
cover band. They like came out when we were like getting to that age when we were like old enough to like look up to like people doing that music stuff.
Yeah.
So like I remember when like Bashful Creatures in South came out when I was in like early high school, and just like
Playing music, and,
Being
like, hearing
flo-
that.
yeah, it's
Coming
like
from
almost how I
Minnesota.
learned how to play guitar. Like just how pentatonic. I played guitar before, but I got so much better at leads because of it. Yeah, Hippocampus. I'm really into Harper's Jar right now.
Yeah.
They're so good. They've got a new record coming, and I've like heard some of the songs live, and like on their Radio K session. That is going to be the best album to come out this year for sure. They're so good. They're so tight. What are you inspired by? I don't know.
Casual.
Casual. Oh, they're so good.
They're really good.
They're really good. I think we saw them at Midway.
No, at our house or their
I think
house. that
we
place?
saw them like
like 2 years ago.
2 years ago at
Yeah.
like Midway, and that was wild. That was like one of our first house shows like we ever went to. It was wild. Yeah, shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
As far as like not local bands, like I'm really into like Arcade Fire. The 1975 is like a huge one. Bright Eyes, Conroe Burst is like
Yeah. Anything he touches is just great.
yeah, he's probably my favorite songwriter of all time. I'm Wide Awake It's Morning is my favorite album ever. So
Did you catch him when he was here solo a couple months ago
at the zoo?
Zoo?
No, I didn't catch him. I saw him.
with Phoebe Bridgers though? Or-
I didn't see him with Better Oblivion, but I
Okay.
saw him when he toured with Phoebe Bridgers in
Okay.
2017
Okay.
for his like Ruminations
Yeah.
record. I saw him then, and
so good.
So like when they announced Better Oblivion Community Center, I was like, that is so rad. It's such
That
a
show was so fun.
Oh,
it
man.
was such like a. It was more of a production than it was a concert.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They're great. He's great.
Yeah.
And I love Phoebe.
Yeah.
Like, she's got a great voice.
Phoebe.
Great songwriter.
So yeah, so you got the is the EP coming out 2019 still, or is that you're waiting to 2020?
2019 for
Okay.
sure. That's the idea. And then we have what's up?
Shooting for like November.
I think November is kind of we're gonna hopefully Abe will be down to mix it again. That's
Okay.
kind of like what we're going for. We're gonna try to get a lot of the mixing work done beforehand because we have some like a lot of ideas with Psychic Friends Fair is pretty like hands off. We kind of were just like here, help, like, we're like, yeah. And it's like remarkable how much he hit the nail on the head. It was awesome. But like this one, we're kind of like, well, maybe we could try this. We have like more production ideas. It's gonna be like the nighttime variant to Psychic Friends Fair.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll sound cool. I'm looking forward to it. A lot more synth than horns for sure. Maybe horns. We'll see. Probably a lot of horns. I can't get enough of them, so probably.
So other than the upcoming releases and stuff, you got any tours or anything exciting planned as well?
We just got lots of shows.
Yeah,
We're trying to
plenty of-
plan a tour, but like I do all the booking.
Yeah,
Because
he
these
does.
guys,
Because we suck.
and I struggle with booking tours because I'll email people like, hey, we're trying to come out here like around this time, and then like I'll like never get an email back, or like I will and they'll be like, hey, we're booked up to like 2040, like, so it happens.
Yeah.
I'm not like upset, but it's like it's hard.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard.
I got cued in because Your Coffee put on a tiny house show a couple weeks ago as of recording this, and just like I got added to like a DIY tour postings group
Yeah.
on Facebook, and just like the amount of like trying that you have to put in order to get maybe one show out of it is bonkers.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I love the grind.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
get me wrong. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's a lot of fun. But it's work, for sure.
Yeah. So shows, maybe a tour. You have physical copies of the new EP, right?
Yes.
Newest EP.
Yeah, and we have them at shows, and I think we're putting them up on Bandcamp.
Okay.
So, within the near future.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and sitting down with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, appreciate it.
The Ear Coffee Podcast is a companion to the blog of the same name. If you like this episode, please leave us a rate and review so we can stand out among the other music podcasts. You can follow us at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @EarCoffee. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.